Guys, welcome back to my channel. Ashley Has Life here, and today I'm here with a very special guest, and his name is Dominic, but I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Yeah.
I just drank a soda.
You know what? It got you.
It
got you.
So go ahead. You introduce yourself. I'm sorry.
I'm Dominic Brown, spelled like Dominic, but like Dennis the Menace.
Right. Even though I swear his name is Dominic, but it's Dominic for real.
It's Dominic. Yeah, it's actually Dominic.
Okay.
I'm a meteorologist.
Yes.
Yeah, previously working at WTKR. Now I work at WIS-TV in Columbia, South Carolina. WTKR in Hampton Roads. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited to have you. Well, I'm excited to have you. Yeah. I'm excited that he's moving on to bigger and better things and forgetting about us.
No.
But
I'll never forget.
Okay. But I'm glad to have him here today. So today I thought that I would grab him up before he blows up on this #1 station and talk about perseverance, because as we know, people with disabilities and everything going on out there, you know, we have trouble or issues with things and we feel like, you know, we just can't make it through. And so I thought that we would talk about perseverance. You know, although Dominic is not a person with a disability, he still has gone through different things in his life. I know he's had some relationships with some people that have had disabilities, but I want him to go ahead and tell us about that.
Yeah, first of all, well, one of the biggest ones and closest ones was my brother. You know, so before he passed away, he had Crohn's disease, and so he had Crohn's disease when he was in like 15, I think, when he was diagnosed. And so that's an illness, first of all, that we had to learn about. And we had to cope with. It was a lifelong illness for him, and you know, he often spent time in the hospital. He missed school. We were supposed to try out for the tennis team in high school together, and he was ended up in the hospital, and we didn't do that. But there were a lot of challenges along the way, and I remember a lot of times he didn't want to give up. Or you know, give in to the illness, but I think it took a lot of, the support system around him, our family, other friends who kind of helped him, push him along the way. But I think also, I think it took a little maybe change of mind there, because this was something that he had to cope with for the rest of his life. And also even with us, I said to my parents and even myself, learning about it, trying to deal with it, trying to cope with it, we had to really acknowledge what this was, because it affected us too. So we had to persevere through it. We had to understand what it was, but know that, you know, this was something that we could actually deal with and cope with as a family, you know, and support him and love him as much as we could.
So while we're talking about that, I know that I have a video out there of, I think, the top 5 tips for people with lupus, and thank you to you guys. I think I just hit like 1.1 views. I did.
Oh,
yes.
nice.
I got that on that one. 1,000.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
K. Well, there's a K next to it.
I thought you said 1.1. That's 1.
There's a K next to it, and so that's like been like my biggest video that I have out there. So while we're talking about your brother, can you give us like 2 or 3 tips on, you know, like your top, let's say your top 5 tips of how to support somebody with a disability? So say siblings. Let's narrow it down to a sibling with a disability and how to support them. How about that?
Yeah. First of all, you just have to love them. That's really the biggest thing, because my brother was on steroids.
Roid gang right here.
We got the Roid gang.
And the thing is, I understand what the roids can do, you know, especially when you get mood swings, that sort of thing. He was mean to me, but I still loved him. Like I said, it's just the medicine. It's just the medicine.
That's right.
But first of all, you just have to love them. You also have to understand what they're going through. Sometimes it's just a matter of sitting with them, or maybe doing your own research as well, because at that point you're kind of understanding what they're going through, and then maybe you can just get more insight into it as well. I mean, I remember going to the Children's Hospital, Children's Health Care of Atlanta, when he was first diagnosed, and trying to understand, like, my God, my brother is actually ill. He's the only sibling that I have. I need to understand what he's going through. Another thing, we went to, my mom and I, we went to a support group. And there were several people who had Crohn's disease. And I remember going there because we wanted to know. We wanted to also support him as well and see what other folks were going through.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of the whole research. Maybe that's number 3 at some point. Try a support group or something.
Yeah.
Because that allows you to hear from others. So you're not just seeing it just from the person right there at home with you. Yeah, I think it's a matter of sometimes maybe that's that third point, going to a support group. So you're not only hearing and seeing something just firsthand, with the person that you're living with, your sibling or whoever it is, but you're also hearing from other folks who have a similar path with that illness. And so I think that's also something that folks should think about.
Top 3. Those 3 were like bomb. Like it is what it is, And me, I've been on steroids since I was 12 years old. And I know the journey of starting when they first trying to get you right, and they put you on like thousands of milligrams of steroids, and you go crazy. Like you basically go crazy. I had medically induced psychosis from medication.
Wow.
Steroids, Roy gang all day.
So it's like, and then it makes you eat, makes you fat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of things. That's
it's a roller coaster ride.
That's why I got the double chin.
I don't see it, but let me tell you, it's a roller coaster ride.
You see this? He's a lie.
It's a roller coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride for the person. It's a roller coaster ride for the people around them, their family. But it becomes a part of life, and you have to accept it. You have to accept that it's a part of life, and that's when you have to just cope with it and live with it every day.
Right. So I think we can kind of wrap this up because this video actually turned into something
it's about better
than I expected.
Oh,
because
man, right?
This is definitely what my channel is about. It's about, advocating for those with disabilities, and it's about talking about our disabilities and being proud. And so I'm really happy that we kind of re-recorded because clearly we just got real. Okay.
You didn't even know my brother had Crohn's disease, probably.
I did know.
I don't know if I knew he had talk about it a little bit.
I don't know if he had Crohn's disease, but I knew that he had something.
Yeah.
I knew that he passed away. Right. Or whatever. But so yes, and we're so sorry for your loss.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, so now let's talk about this. So let's go a little deeper. Okay. So when he first passed, getting through it and coping, because I know I've experienced some loss as somebody with a disability. I've experienced friends who have passed from lupus. I've experienced friends who have, passed from different diseases that, young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going through that, tell me how you coped, like what was your support system like, things like that. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think that by living here in Hampton Roads, there was a reason why I was here. God put me here for a reason because of that whole process back in 2013. And so when he passed away, it's been almost 4 years ago, I had a support network here. I don't have family in this area. I think I maybe have some distant family, but my family became my friends, and then eventually my fraternity brothers. But the thing about it is that I had a lot of people who were right there, and they had either gone through something similar, or they loved me and cared about me so much that it was almost natural for them to say, look, I'm gonna make you some jambalaya, and you know what, it's gonna last you about 3 or 4 days. You won't even have to cook dinner. Okay. That's love right there. We didn't talk about Do-Rag Man, but Robert, it was like, come on man, I got, blah, blah, blah. Folks being right there for you when your whole world is crumbling.
Yeah. So
life as I knew it was done.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Of course.
And so it was a support network of true, honest, best friends that I got from several people here in Hampton Roads that I will always, always remember, always cherish, and I will never, ever forget. My work team as well, they were just amazing. And so, having to take days off, having to go do some things, and call my bosses and say, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
I'll come back when I can, and they totally had my back. My weather team, everybody. So, that support team was great, but it was tough. It was tough. And I went through a long time. I had held a lot in. When I went home back to Georgia during the whole time, I was there, trying to build up my parents and support them because, they're going through an emotional roller coaster ride, a lot of emotions. But I did not cry for a long time. It took me, I told you, 3 months to do that. right before I came back to Hampton Roads. So,
Right.
you know, it was like, oh my, you know, here it is. I'm going back to the airport, and I think that's where everything just started to kind of take a toll on me all at once. But, you know, just when I was about to be on the airplane and say goodbye to my mom, you know, that's where just everything just came crashing down for me, and I had to let it out. So it took a little while for me to kind of deal with that situation, but, you know, of course I think about him every day. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't. But I also know that there were people placed in my life who just helped me through that whole process, along with my family.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I love my family dearly, and they helped me along the way too. But I think being away from home was a blessing and a curse in a sense. I wasn't close to family, but I was close to a number of friends, especially a handful of very close ones, that really helped me through that.
Right.
Yeah.
So in talking about that, as you guys know who are on my channel, when Boise and I had miscarriage with the surrogate, so this was another type of loss. When I tell you, I don't think that I've never experienced any kind of pain like that before in my life. And I've had, I have had a nana to die, a pop to die, you know what I'm saying? But I guess, like I said in the video when I was crying my eyes out, like I don't know if it was the fact that we had spent so much money on this process, like over $30,000 on this process, or was it the fact that she was just gone, you know what I'm saying? Like I just saw an ultrasound of her and then she was gone, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it was everything together, and like coping with that and having a disability on top of that, you know what I'm saying?
A lot.
It's too much. Those are things that can cause flares. Those are things that can get you hospitalized, like things like this instances. And I really think it's having a good system of people, of a system with amongst yourself, you know what I'm saying, with the disability, to be able to know, okay, like prepare yourself, almost like being prepared. Like I know that if something was to happen to this person, this is how I react. So if I know I'm going to react this way, what can I do to mentally prepare myself to not go into a flare? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if it's reading the word, if it's praying, like pre-praying, you know what I'm saying? Like something. I mean, nothing will ever prepare you for someone to go on, you know what I'm saying? But you know how they say, like, you knew he was sick, or you knew da-da-da. But sometimes it's not playing like that, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you never know.
You never know. And so it's like just, you know, being mindful altogether of just being, you know, remembering like, okay, if I cause myself to be so gone that I'm going to put myself into a flare and possibly harm myself, then it's like you have to prepare yourself for things like that, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like just, you know, being mindful of these things, because you don't want to put yourself in there, you know? It's just, it's crazy.
You're strong though.
I guess, allegedly.
You boys are strong. Oh yes, you are. Sometimes you're kind of like, I'm sure you kind of feel like, oh my God, what in the world?
Right. The stuff, our track record, like check
the credits, boo.
like our track record is crazy. Like we've had, I mean, well, he's the strong one because, you know, we've been through the lupus, we've been through the stroke, we've been through the cancer. I was blind in one eye. Like I was blind in one eye. What man stays with somebody that's blind in one eye? I know you would stay with the person if you was blind. Somebody was blind in one eye. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but I'm saying some people would have left you.
Take your contacts out. I'll be blind right with them. Look, boop, that's it.
Right,
Out.
exactly. Like it's just like so much that people have been through, like blood disorders, going to the doctor every week. Like it's crazy, and we have these guys that are still staying with us.
Yeah.
And Dominic is single.
Hey.
Right? Dominic is single, y'all. So email me if you want to get a date. You hear me?
Email me, I'll hook you up.
Okay. So I think that's all we have for today.
Okay, this is
Thank
awesome.
you so much. I know. Thank you so much for coming on here.
I'm just a phone call away. I'll be back to visit. You know I'm gonna be back to visit. I got way too many people in this area to say bye. So I'm gonna say see you later.
You know how people be like, oh, I'm not gonna forget
Oh, no,
you.
no, 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 no,
I'm
no.
gonna
I don't
be
do
here.
that.
And then you never hear or see from him again. He's gonna stop answering phone calls. He's gonna stop responding to text messages. All right, well, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will definitely get back to you as soon as possible, guys. All right, that's it.
See ya.
All right, see you. Bye.